Captain? Captain, can I talk to you? Look, you have got to make sure that the idol of Rava doesn't get back to Khalistan. I mean, it could cause a civil war, with Khalistan sitting right between Russia and China.
Relax, Parker. I already talked to some fruitcake who said he was from the Khalistani Council.
Captain, did he threaten you?
No, but he said that statue of Smiling Jack in there was going to get me. You notice how scared I am.
I'd take that lightly if I were you, sir. Look what happened to Professor Rust.
You too? Parker, don't you have to oil your slide rule or something?
Well, I really think...
No! to be half a sandwich.
If I hadn't pulled out the bologna.
Hey, come back here.
An in-depth profile, Captain Barbera. That's the worst idea I ever heard.
Well, it seemed like a good idea at the time. You liked it.
Sure. That was before Rustin slipped into a coma. You know what this is going to look like to the stockholders of the newspaper?
Jameson, you're not guilty.
It doesn't matter. If I'm not at that meeting for any reason, especially if I'm in jail, I'll lose the paper.
We can't let that happen.
We? There's nothing we can do about it.
Mr. Jameson, do you remember those pictures that I took at the museum? Could I have another look at those, please?
Why?
I got a shot of one of the demonstrators. Now, I think this man was involved.
They're all involved. Have you been talking to the Bulletin or the Dispatch? I see. You're the first of the rats to leave the sinking ship, is that it?
I would never do any such thing.
I paid you more than I should have for those pictures. They're mine. Nobody's going to see them.
Why does that man have to be so stubborn?
That's probably what got him where he is.
I mean, he is in jail, and he still thinks he knows all the answers. If that's what it takes to be rich, I'd rather stay poor.
Honey, you work for Mr. Jameson long enough, you'll get your wish, for sure.
We have got to help him. Now, I have to get some of those pictures that I sold to Mr. Jameson. Rita, I have a shot of one of the demonstrators. I am sure the man was involved.
Forget it, Pete. Now he's got them and the negatives in his desk, and the office is locked. He locks it whenever he leaves.
Well, why does he do that? You're always here.
Who do you think he is worried about?
Rita, isn't there some way this could be arranged? Our jobs are at stake.
Oh. Well, listen, honey, now that you put it that way, oh, yes, there is a way it can be arranged.
Yeah, he's one of them. He said they were from the Calisthenic Consulate. What makes you think this guy has anything to do with Rustin's accident?
I guess you could just say I've got a feeling about him. Every time he's around, something bad happens.
Really? I could say the same thing about you.
Well, you had a run-in with him. Did anything strange happen to you?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I did. It wasn't for...
If it hadn't been for who? Well, what happened to you, Captain?
Nothing happened, partner. Forget it.
Well, something certainly happened to Mr. Jameson.
Okay, just for the sake of argument, say something did happen to me.
Something like the things that Mr. Jameson described.
Okay, partner, okay. Just tell me one thing. How could this Calistani have pulled it off?
I don't know. But if something strange had happened to me, I'd want to find out now.
It's interesting that you called. I was following this case anyway. Have you ever heard of telekinesis?
The ability to move objects with the mind, sure, but I thought it was mostly a theory.
Oh, telekinesis exists. There's too much data to deny it. I get reports every week here of people who can perform telekinetic feats. There are people who, on command, in front of a live TV camera, can move objects on a table.
Or make images appear on a photographic negative.
Exactly. The most powerful telekinetic minds can bend steel bars with just the force of their minds.
Doctor, have you ever heard of something called teleportation?
Yes, but that's just a theory.
Well, tell me, how does it work?
Well, it's a concept in which the mind of the teleport is able to change the molecular structure of an object in such a way as to make it seem to disappear from one location, transport it over a distance, return it to its original form, making it seem to materialize in a second location.
Mr. Jameson didn't mention anything about any objects disappearing.
Well, the phenomena he described only sounds possible if he encountered an individual with an incredibly advanced telekinetic gift. But I've never heard of anyone having the power as strongly as you described.
But if he did have it that strongly, he could do all the things that Mr. Jameson described.
Oh, absolutely. Theoretically, the extent of the power is limitless. If you'd like to know more, why don't you flip through these books?
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Keller. I really appreciate it. Oh, hello, Captain. You going to take a class?
Sure. I may even go back to school full time.
Good. Maybe I can get you into my fraternity.
Hey, Doc, can I talk to you a minute?
You know who I am.
I know who you claim to be.
You have seen my power. Could any man but his high priest have such power?
Only if the old legends are to be believed.
You do not have much respect. I had heard that you were more American than Calistani.
I am only American. I've never been to Calistan.
But it is in your blood. After all, your grandmother was a daughter of the last high priest of Rava. And you also knew that I would be coming to you for help.
I help you destroy a Calistan that 70 years of peace has allowed her to become.
You will do as I say. Thank you. I knew you would see it my way.
I opened up this morning at 9 a.m., just like always. Then I shut off the alarms, then opened up.
All the alarms in working order?
Oh, they work perfectly. I can't understand it.
Was the idol the only thing that was taken?
Parker, what are you doing here?
I was on my way to class when I saw your car. Doesn't this prove that Mr. Jameson was innocent?
Certainly not.
You know, Captain, there could be international repercussions over this.
Yeah? Well, don't you worry about it, Parker. I'll find it.
Have you questioned those Calistanis that tried to take the statue from you?
Well, that's a terrific idea, Parker. Talk about your international repercussions. You want me to waltz up to the Calistani consulate, accuse them of robbery, and look great in the papers?
Yeah, I see what you mean. Sir, how many sets of keys to the museum were there?
Well, we have 2 sets in security, and Dr. Rustin had 2 sets of keys. Maybe there's a record in his office of who has that other set.
Well, what are we waiting for?
Trina?
Well, twice in 1 week. I guess the university isn't as big as I thought it was.
Trina, I have to talk to you.
Sure, but I've got a class. Can it wait?
Rava was stolen last night.
That's terrible.
I think you had something to do with it.
I'm going to be late.
You told me that you locked up the museum the night you let Mr. Jameson in. The police will find out that you've got a set of keys. It's just a question of time. But we don't have much time. Do we, Trina?
Well, I'll be taking the idol back to Calistan tonight.
Was this the man? Who is he?
His name is Mandak. He's the high priest of Rava.
Why did you help him?
I had to. He's got a kind of power.
Yeah, I know. It's called telekinesis. He can make things happen with his mind.
That's how they choose the high priest.
Whoever has the greatest power gets the job. The other night, at the museum, when Mandak and Professor Rustin were arguing, were you there?
He made the idol shake. He made a scimitar fly at the professor.
And he made a stone object fall. And everything Mr. Jameson said happened really did happen.
Certainly he made the idol fall on the professor, too.
Well, then why don't you go to Captain Barbera and tell him all that so Mr. Jameson can get out of jail? Look, maybe Professor Rustin will get better, and maybe he'll clear Mr. Jameson, but that isn't going to happen for a while. There's a meeting tomorrow of the stockholders at the newspaper. If Mr. Jameson isn't there, he will lose control of the Bugle. You have got to do it now.
I should have done it already, but I was afraid of Mandak. Oh, dear, I'm so ashamed.
Don't be. Everybody will realize how hard it was to stand up against that kind of power.
So I want to check on the location of every Calistani in the city. Then call the Immigration Service. Call the State Department. 10-4. Out. Why, what?
Talk to you. I have something important to say. You could have phoned. Would you believe me if I called and said I was Spider-Man?
You got a point. What kind of information?
The idol of Rava was stolen by a man named Mandak. It's being held at the Calistani consulate.
It might as well be in Calistan. I can't go busting in their consulate without some pretty heavy evidence.
I know that. But if you happen to be at the rear of the consulate tonight, about 11, you just might find the idol sitting on the curb.
Yeah, they're just going to give it back like that?
Not exactly. Just be there tonight at 11. You'll see.
You'll get yours one of these days, you whip-headed.
Rava, you will feel his wrath.
Ah, Parker.
Oh, Mr. Jameson, how did it go at the stockholders meeting?
Oh, I think you could say I sunk that pirate. It was beautiful.
So you're still in control of the newspaper?
Well, there was never any doubt about that. Once I got out of that ridiculous jail.
Oh, I'm sorry about that, sir. I was doing my job.
You did an excellent job, Captain.
I thank you, sir. I'd like to take all the credit, but I have to admit I couldn't have pulled it off without Spider-Man.
Oh, well, he'd be delighted to hear you say that, Captain. Do you mind if the Bugle quotes you on that?
Not on your life. I'm not giving any recognition to some freak who runs around in a red and blue union suit.
Mr. Jameson, what's the latest on Professor Rustin's condition?
Oh, I called the hospital after the meeting. He's much better.
That is great news. By the way, Captain, whatever happened to Mandak?
Well, it looks like he's going to be all right. The Calistanis have granted him diplomatic immunity for some reason.
Why?
I don't know.
Could it be that the government of Calistan has plans for him and his cult of Rava?
I see what you mean. Well, Mr. Jameson and Captain, why don't you both step in here next to the idol, and then I can take a picture of it.
Excellent.
Okay.
Come on, right here.
Yeah, why don't you come in close?
Mm-hmm. This one picture is sure to make the front page of the Bugle.
Really? At front page rates.
Yeah.